Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Coach Tiffany Parra with Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine. We are taking center stage on the Own It publishing platform today, and we are going to be celebrating some of our wonderful authors out there. We have an amazing author for our Authors Network Spotlight today. I'm going to go ahead and bring this young lady on in. Good morning, Lakecia.
Good,
You doing, honey?
good morning. Thank you so much, Tiffany, for having me.
Oh, you're welcome, honey. I'm so excited to have you on the show and just excited to share you with my audience. So please tell the audience where you're located.
I am located in Memphis, Tennessee,
All right, all
born
right.
and raised.
Very good, very good. See, they are everywhere. Okay, all look, the authors all over the world. We spotlight here. So, Lakecia, please just being an author, choosing to be an author, that's a big decision. So please share with us what inspired you to become an author and write multiple publications,
Yes.
multiple books.
Oh, my inspiration. Writing has always been something that I enjoyed, even as a little girl. It was my outlet. I was raised in a household where staying a child's place was embedded in us. And so I felt that I had a lot to say. But to avoid getting in trouble, I would just write it down on paper and I started with diaries, and from there it started into journaling and short stories, and I have a vivid imagination. So writing has definitely been a part of my life my entire life. I never thought to be an author though. Becoming an author was actually something that was introduced to me back in 2020. um, I've been through some things, and a couple of people that I know, was like, "You really need to share your story."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." But once I got on the journey and actually started to write, it was just like healing to my soul. And it just it manifested. So, and here we are today, and I love it. I'm actually working on a new project now. I just released a project, so I'm excited, and I love what I do.
I love it. I love it. And see, I just have such a passion for authors because just like you said, you never thought that you were going to be an author. I don't think any authors ever really think they're going to be an
No.
author. But we do have these stories, right? These stories that come up through life's journey. And we
Mhm.
have to share them because really the Lord gave us that story to share with someone else so they could come through something that they're going through. I mean, would you agree?
Definitely, most definitely. You have to share your testimonies and your stories because they do inspire and motivate someone. Someone may have experienced something worse than you, but even though you may have a word of encouragement that can open up just complete healing or inspiration, or just give them another moment throughout a day. So it is important, it is very imperative that we share our stories.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what about the healing process to sharing this story? Can we talk a little bit about that? Because I know as we're
Yes.
getting it out, there's a lot of stuff that we kind of go through. So,
Yes. So with and I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Healing and within writing your story is therapeutic, but it's those moments where you have to step away. You have to step away. You may throw that pen down, you may scream, kick, and cry, but you come back to it. But that's what you have to do. That's what you need to do. You need to feel it in order to be able to move forward from it. So it is definitely a process, but the process is definitely worth it. It is.
yeah, it's a release, right? It's like
It
you just feel
is.
after it's done, it's like you feel free.
Yes, it is. It's like, okay, that don't phase me no more. Even with reading my first story, I went back and I read it, and it didn't even affect me in the way that it did before I wrote it. And so I knew then, I was like, aha. This is it.
This
This
is
is
it.
how I need to release it. This is it. So yes.
So outside of being an author, what else do you do? Because we were talking behind stage and backstage before we started, and I know you got a lot going on.
Yes, so I am a mother, of course. My girls are 17 and 20, but they are my world, and I'm their world because I can't get this 20-year-old to leave my house. I'm also a caregiver. I've been caring for my grandfather for the last 8 years, almost 8 years. And we're currently on the hospice journey,
Mm,
um, which is, a process within itself. I have my good days and my bad days. He has his days, but we're sticking it out together. Um, I wouldn't have it any other way other than to spend this time with him. So it's a blessing to be able to do so.
yeah.
I'm also a grief coach. I've experienced a lot of grief. And in order to coach anyone else, you have to do it by experience. I became a
Mhm.
certified life coach, knowing that I wanted to be a life coach, but not knowing my niche. Well, God had a plan for me. And grief was it. I've experienced grief to a magnitude that you have to read the books, but
Yeah.
but to extensive magnitude, from losing my grandmother, my best friend, my fiance, two brothers,
Wow.
um, a close cousin that grew up in the house with me like a brother. So it's like, and they were back to back to back. This was like within a
Mm,
3 year span, and but I just refuse to allow my grief to overcome me. Now, I'm not saying that I'm superwoman because I'm not. I did go through my moments of, being stagnant, anxiety, afraid to leave my house, you name it, but I didn't want to stay there. And so I began to implement plans of, healthy tools and techniques to help myself through because I didn't have anyone to help me through that. Everyone was kind of looking at me like, okay, what are you going to do? You're so strong. And people don't realize the strong get weak as well. And
right.
so I wanted to share myself with the world to let them know, hey, grief is a never ending journey, but we can make it through it. And so with that, it birthed my grief coach program, which is called Worth. We on road to healing. We're on the road to healing, the acronym for work. So yeah, that's it in a
Wow.
nutshell.
Wow. Whew. Well, we're going to go ahead and cut to a quick commercial break, and we will be right back with author Lakecia Lockeridge.
Okay.
Hello, and we are back. This is Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine, our Authors Network Spotlight with author Lakecia Lockeridge. And we were just discussing a little bit more about what coach, really, Lakecia, does as well, because you are a coach as well.
Yes.
So we were talking a little bit about grief, and it really kind of made me want to ask this question because you have gone through so much and you have been so resilient through this. Can you maybe give our audience maybe a couple of maybe tools that you use to get to the other side?
Yes, definitely. One in particular, I'm into videos. I'm into creating memorabilia. And so when I have those moments, I take pictures and I may, put a little spin to it, put a little music. TikTok has been amazing for me with that. And I just, create those memories and it's something that I can hold on to, I can replay over and over. So that's something that I definitely tell people you can do that from your couch. You don't have to come see me for that. Another thing, journaling. I have a
Mhm.
journal for my brother. I have one for my grandmother. I have specific journals. And when I'm feeling a certain type of way, if there's something I want to tell them, I write it down. I may not be able to physically tell them, but I'm sure in spirit, in love, they will receive that message. And so that is something that I will definitely say um, is critical and key. It's just having a way to still communicate with your loved ones. Um, I'm into candles, of course. So I like candles. I have one that has my brother name that I inscribed in it. And when I'm feeling a type of certain type of way, I may light it, and just say a little prayer around it. So it's a lot of different things. Those are just some of the things that I like to do. But I also have many more healthy tools, where we can honor our loved ones, just turn that sadness into something happy,
Yeah.
or let's
Yeah.
put some positive energy behind that sadness because that positive energy can overpower that sadness and it can give you that moment to move forward because as much as you love them, they loved you as well.
Right. Oh, I love that. And I love the journal for each person. I
Yes,
you just gave me an idea. Thank you for that.
yes,
Thank you.
you're
Yes.
welcome.
So because you're into so much. I mean, you're a caregiver, you're a mother, you're a coach, you're an author. You've got all this stuff
Yes.
going on. So, can you tell me what does self-care look like for you when you get a chance to just kind of step away or if you get a chance to step away?
Oh, I do. I run away. Self-care is extremely important. It is extremely important. Even if I just get to take that long hot bath late at night, with a book, read a book, or have me a glass of wine, it's important. I have a patio, so I utilize that a lot. Because I'm surrounded by trees and nature and I love nature. So I utilize that a lot. Um, and when I just have had enough, I hire a sitter and I'll go book me a room and I'm on do not disturb. And that's that. You can't be all that you can be for everyone else and everything else if your cup is empty or half full. You
Yeah.
have to keep your cup full. I mean, the perfect analogy is the airplane scenario. You
Mhm.
have to put your mask on first before you can help your neighbor. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
important.
Absolutely. And I, excuse me, I remember one of many mentors that I have. I remember her saying, you want to keep your cup on overflow
Hmm.
because when your cup is full, you can really serve, your community, your family, every
Hmm.
through that overflow.
Yes.
Right? So you got to keep it full and just keep it overflowing. And I mean, how do you really, how do you do that, right? And again, you have to just step away
Hmm.
and give yourself that moment and give yourself, I think, grace, because sometimes it's hard for us
Praise.
to, you're motivating me because sometimes it's hard for us to step away.
It is, and that was something that I had to learn. I had to learn to give myself grace. I had to learn that it was okay for me to have some me time because I'm so used to pouring out into everyone else, and I used to be a yes person, a people pleaser. You can call Keisha 3 o'clock in the morning and she can be exhausted, but she's gonna say yes and get out of the
Oh,
bed, and people knew that and I had to pump my brakes and be like, you know what? No, it's okay for you to say no, girl. So, I had to learn that, but it took a process and I did. And now it's like, I love you, but no.
Like, I need my sleep, okay?
Yes,
No, don't call me
yes,
at no 3 o'clock in the morning. This girl
yes.
here will not answer, okay?
And it took a lot of people a lot of time to get used to my boundaries, but
Mhm.
now they respect it and they even know, okay, yeah, don't even go there with her. Just move on.
I love it. So, with your books, what are the stories behind each of the published stories? And how many stories? How many books do you have again?
I have 3 published books. 2 are, Amazon two-time bestseller, so I'm excited about that. The 3rd one, I am still pushing for bestseller, but I believe in it, it will get there.
Yes.
The first one is an anthology, The CEO Chronicles.
Okay.
And so that one was 2020 versus the Vision 2020. Basically, we wrote our stories of how the experiences of 2020 in our lives changed our vision and focus. And
Mm-hmm.
so for my story, I briefly touched on 2020, which was not dealing with COVID for me.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was based upon tragedy, losing my best friend, my fiance, and my brother 3 months apart, three, and three. And
Wow.
so it was a lot for me to deal with.
Yeah.
Um, so while everyone else was thinking of COVID, I was in turmoil. Literally, COVID was the farthest from my mind. But I was introduced to that with Kelly A. Boynes,
Mm-hmm.
the founder of CEO District. And that was amazing. So that one hit bestseller. I was able to just share a brief summary of how I felt at that moment
Yeah.
and just a little reflection. So it was just a brief snippet of my chapter, of what I went through. Now, Caregivers Need Love Too is my second book, which I was the visionary author for,
Okay.
because people seem to underestimate, unappreciate, and uncelebrate caregivers. And we're human.
Right.
And honestly, caregivers make the world go round,
They do.
professionally and personally. So I felt that it was time for us to shed light on caregivers. I rallied with a couple of more young ladies, and they've had their own experiences with caregiving from personal to professional. And we all wrote our chapters, and it is an amazing book. It is very powerful. The stories in it is just powerful. And mine is about me and my grandfather's journey. Um, he tells me all the time, you made me famous because my chapter is called Cat Daddy and I. That's what I call him. And
Uh,
he'll tell everybody, my granddaughter made me famous. Read her book. If you want to know about me, read her book. So
yeah.
I was able to give him flowers while he's still here. So that was amazing.
Oh, that's
Um,
amazing.
so my newest project, which is Life Ain't Been No Sunshine,
Mm,
yes. So this one is my baby because this one was, even though it's a self-help, it's about my personal traumas,
mhm.
in my journey throughout my um childhood and my young adulthood. Um, of course, it's a part two coming to this. But this one here, the reviews that I have been getting has been amazing.
Good.
I've had so many people to tell me that they read it in one day, like literally couldn't put it down. So
Wow.
that's just amazing for me to know that my story is helping others.
Right.
And it's been a lot of younger people, the younger generation that has taken to this book. And so I'm just overjoyed that I went through the experience, but it was bigger than me. I went through the experience to be able to help someone else.
Yeah.
And this book is very graphic and detailed. It goes into the depth of the trauma that I received and who I received it from. And, you know, yeah. So, yeah.
Wow. Sorry. Oh, my apologies. My fussy
Oh,
dog here.
oh, it's okay. My dog is on the patio.
But we don't want him to be barking the whole time. So we got the author on the line here. So tell me, with working on an anthology,
Mhm.
how was that? Because when you get, especially women together working on
Yeah.
projects and things, there can be a lot of emotions, a lot of things going on. So can you share that experience a little bit, how it was for you?
Yes. So with the CEO Chronicles, it was pretty much we came together on a bi-weekly basis, just to kind of, show support for each other and just to vent and get some things out. A lot of women had experienced a lot of things, so it was just good to kind of build that sisterhood. With that anthology, we kind of just built it a little sisterhood. So that was amazing. And with being a visionary author for Caregivers Need Love Too, that journey it was slightly different, but it was still full of joy. It was me having to be the bad cop, and kind of push, like, we need to get this done, push those deadline dates. A lot of them were first time authors, so that, of course, it was the drag your feet, but the stories were powerful. They just, how you have that fear,
Yeah.
and they doubted themselves. So I had to motivate and, encourage. And even one lady, I said, look, we're going to get together. We're going to write this together. So we actually met and I assisted her with it. But the whole experience itself, overall, I loved it. I loved it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love hearing the positive when it comes to the anthologies, because you
Yes.
do hear some of the bad stuff. So when you hear that sisterhood, creation and just things like that, it's just amazing, because that just
Yes.
really just helps us grow. We can't do it
Yeah.
alone, and having a
No,
sister alongside with us, it makes all the difference. It really does.
definitely. Definitely.
So we're gonna cut to a quick commercial break, and we will be right back with author Lakecia Lockeridge. And we are back. Phoenix Fitness Fanatics Magazine. We are taking center stage on the Owner Publishing platform, and we have our Authors Network Spotlight with author Lakecia Lockeridge. So, Lakecia, what inspired you to write it all down, share your stories, things like that? Because, I mean,
Look, that load can get heavy. You have to release it. You have to. And I was stubborn, when um the first anthology was introduced to me, I was like, don't nobody want to hear my story. And I don't want to tell these people my business because I am a private person. You wouldn't believe it, but I am a very private person. But it was needed. and it was destined. You can't run from destiny. You know, God was like, okay, you ready? Here you go.
I put you
Yes,
in I gave you the journey. It's the gift. So you gotta
yes,
write
you
it
got
down.
to, yes, write it down.
And
And
he gonna
it's
keep
gonna,
tapping you. He gonna keep
oh
tapping you.
yes. Even with the grief coach program, he kept tapping me. I'm like, nope. And he was like, yeah. And caregivers need love too. I will tell everyone that um this one kept waking me up out of my sleep
Wow.
every morning between 3:30 and 4 o'clock. I'm like, I just want to sleep. But I kept waking up with the same idea. And I said, okay, God, okay.
Yeah.
And I reached out to the publishing company that I worked with before, and we got it done. Yeah,
Yes, yes. So what is some words of wisdom, words of encouragement that you can give some of the people that are out there that are thinking about, writing that story and, just some motivation for them.
definitely. If you're researching and this is your first time, I will tell you to stop. I will tell you to stop and write from your heart, write from your soul. Just write it, get it out. You can go back and correct, you can go back and edit, you can go back and, research and get your publishing tools and all that. But the first and most important thing is to write, get it out because you're going to write it in your most authentic form. Get it out, write it out. We can
Yeah.
do the rest later. So that would be definitely something that I will tell any first time writers to do because another thing that discouraged me was I don't know the process. And
Mhm.
it's so much information available to you. It will discourage you. It
Yeah.
will definitely discourage you. Don't let it discourage you. Don't think
Yeah.
about the fear. Don't think about the risk. Just do it.
Because we start thinking
And
about being that perfectionist. It comes in, oh, well, yeah, I
mhm,
got to write it this way. I got to sound that way. And,
mhm.
and then you think about what people are going to say and all that kind of stuff.
And
But
then you compare yourself to others, and no, you
yes,
can't do that.
yes, that's a big thing right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when I was in the first anthology that I had, written it, I said probably 4 or 5 times that I was going to quit. And it was because I was reading others, and their chapters as they were going. I'm
Mhm,
like, mine doesn't sound right. I'm like, no, I can't do that. No, my story's not important enough. That was the big thing was,
mhm.
my story. Nobody wants to hear my story.
And
But
it is, and someone will need to hear your story because who you can reach, I may not be able to reach, and who I can reach, you may not be able to reach. So each story, each individual is unique, and we are here for a purpose.
yeah,
And my
yeah,
purpose is not your purpose. So you have to walk in your authenticity. You have to. And don't worry about what everybody else got going on because, baby, I'm not Beyonce, but you couldn't tell me that. Because who loves Keisha will love Keisha. So, and
that's
I've heard a
right.
lot of people to say, I may misspell words. Girl, we have software for that. Don't worry about that. Just get it out here, write it in your most authentic way, and we'll do the rest. So that's it. All right. Well, I'm not sure what happened to the broadcast, but I thank you guys for tuning in. I would love to connect with each and every one of you. My information is at the bottom. It's been a wonderful, wonderful segment, and I look forward to connecting with all of you. Have a wonderful day.